Okay. So,
Exactly.
thank you everybody for jumping on today. This is kind of a special, sort of exciting time for me. I have a handful of connections just over the years um, just from the path that I've been on with my sports psychology degree and my time at Mankato, and now with the MindStrong project. I've been fortunate to meet some pretty cool people, um, and that doesn't mean that I'm really cool, but I have been able to hang out with some pretty cool people, and uh, I'd be foolish not to share their platform with you and kind of share what the very best are doing. So this is episode number 1 of what I'd like to call the ringer, um, because I'm looking to take these guys or girls through the ringer on all things training, mentality, and experiences. And I think our very first guest is very appropriate for this kind of thing. His name is Connor Mackey. He played his college hockey at Division I Minnesota State University. Had a pretty good career there, and now just signed with the Calgary Flames, which we'll get into. But just to give you my thoughts on Connor, if I had to use 2 words to describe him, it's number 1, that he's humble, number 2, that he's an absolute savage. So I'm excited to kind of dive deep a little bit and get under the hood and see what he's all about. So the whole premise behind this is we're going to kind of try to keep it light, but also keep it meaningful. I don't know if any of you have heard of Spittin' Chicklets. It is probably the most popular hockey podcast, and they kind of joke around a lot and do the more fun side of things. And then my other big influence for this is the MindStrong Project podcast, which is the company that I work for. We do high performance consulting with youth, high school, professional athletes, and we get a chance to be in front of a lot of cool people, and so we interview them and we look at what the best do. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with the angle of this thing. And so hopefully you'll find it fun, but also informative. I think everyone has a story, and typically there's a reason for why people end up where they are. And so for you guys as viewers, maybe you're looking to be the very best. So why not learn from the very best? So hopefully that's what we do here today. I plan on learning a ton, and I know Connor's got some good stuff to share. So just to kind of get things rolling, how I know Connor is I think we actually met through one of our mutual friends, Jared Spooner, who also plays with Minnesota State. I know Jared Spooner through just kind of some mutual friends. And then Jared actually roomed with Connor Mackey at Minnesota State. And I got a chance to share a few dinners with them and get to know Connor a little bit. And then actually, Connor, you lived in my place. You lived in my room the summer of 2018, I think, which was kind of funny. So we got to know each other a little bit more that way while I was gone. But so I know a little bit about you, but I know that there's a lot more that I don't know about you. So I'm excited to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and get a really good look at what makes you you. And I know we talked a little bit before this. My biggest obstacle is going to be, trying to get you to shy away from the cliche hockey answers. We got a great group of guys and blah, blah, blah. Let's try to, provide some meaningful insight, because I know you have a lot to share. So my biggest goal here is to make you a little bit uncomfortable, but also to have some fun along the way. So without further ado, this is The Ringer with Connor Mackey. All right, everyone. Connor, you can just start off by saying hi to the people, and then we'll get into things.
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And Hannah, that was a heck of an introduction. So thanks for having me. And yeah, it's crazy how we met. You let me stay in your room there that one summer. So when I was back in Mankato, we kind of met through spoons. But yeah, that was a great time. And thanks having me again. I'm super excited to do this.
Yeah, dude, it's an honor to have you on. So I kind of wanted to start just to give everyone an outline. We're going to talk all things quarantine here, see what Connor's up to there. And then we'll dive into Connor's background. I think he has a pretty cool story. He's an Illinois native, and he spent some time in the USHL and then at Mankato, so we'll get into that. And then after that, after the fun stuff, we'll dive deep. We'll turn up the heat and see if Connor can handle the ringer. And then we'll end it with a few fun ones too. So let's get started, Connor. The quarantine is going on. I think we're in week 8. What's kind of been your high and your low of quarantine? What are you doing to stay busy? And do you have any guilty pleasures that you've been kind of indulging in along the way?
Yeah, so right now I'm back in Illinois right now with my family. Um, it's been 8 weeks. It's been it's been a while. So it's really nice to be home actually. I mean, I haven't spent this much time home and at home in a few years. So just to be with my family right now and my twin brother, it's been a lot of fun. Um, we're doing a lot of projects right now. My dad and I and my brother, we did our deck. So doing a lot of yard work, trying to stay busy that way. So it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, I think just my routine is I'm trying to do something every day, just stay active. We got a bench press and a few weights in our backyard, so um, trying to hit a little bit of the weights and get a little workout in, get a little sweat in. So maybe go for a run, even if it's something small. Just try to stay active every day. So it's been good to have my brother. We've been pushing each other, doing that. So yeah, guilty pleasures every day. I'm not sure. That's a tough. I guess. Well, my mom is making a lot of great meals, which is nice. Usually cooking, by myself in my apartment or eating out with the team. It kind of gets old every once in a while. So, my mom's a great cook. She actually went to culinary school, so she's kind of got a chef background and she's making great meals. But I guess I got she's got some these like Reese's peanut butter cups. I've been guilty of having a few of those, so I'm trying to stay away from those guys. But food wise,
Nice.
but yeah, I know they can get addicting. But yeah, other than that, it's the quarantine life is. It's not, it could be a lot worse. It's not too bad though. I mean, just being home and trying to stay inside and doing the best we can to like social distance and all that. So, yeah, you know what? It was a bit of an adjustment at first, kind of being back home, but right now it's yeah, everything's getting better. So I'm doing fine. I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's good to keep things in perspective. I know a lot of other people are probably in a lot worse situation than us, but what's your mom's signature dish?
Wow, she makes a lot of good a lot of good meals. I really like her lasagna. Um, she makes, so that's really good.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I'd go with that. I mean, she makes so many good meals, but I'd say lasagna. It's probably the go-to.
I'm with you. Hey, if I ever make it down to Illinois, I think I know where I'm going for dinner. So, all right. So let's move on here.
Absolutely, you're always welcome here.
Let's move on to kind of the elephant in the room. I think it was in March you signed your first professional contract with the Calgary Flames. Sorry, I think I cut out for a second there. You signed your first professional contract with the Calgary Flames. What's kind of been going on as far as that? How are you feeling about it? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What are you most looking forward to about that? And what's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It was a crazy time. I mean, just with the season ending abruptly, and then a couple of days later, just coming home and signing that contract. it was a great time for my family and I, and I'm super excited. Whenever the time is to get to Calgary and kind of get training and go to camp and all that. Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously experiences. I just been home. I mean, I haven't been in contact with their staff and um, the development coaches and the GMs and all that. And my agents helped me a lot with that, just handling stuff, giving me updates and everything. So they've been recently, like I've been in contact with their strength guys, so they've been sending me some workouts, um, just asking me kind of my background and where have I been working out and all that, trainers. So they're obviously we're staying in touch and um, obviously I don't know what's going to happen kind of moving forward. Obviously it's a weird time, but um, if it does resume, I'm excited to go there and kind of get my foot in the door and just kind of soak everything in with that experience. And then if not, yeah, I mean, hopefully, obviously, I'd have to go to training camp. Usually training camp starts in September for the NHL. So, um, if it doesn't resume, then I'm hoping, that's still in place and I kind of got my eyes set on that. So, yeah, it's been obviously signing is super exciting and um, it's good to finally get it done.
That's awesome, man. I'm super happy for you. It's been kind of fun to watch you along the way. We'll get into your development a little bit in a bit. We'll talk about your training habits and mentality and all that stuff. But just kind of in the immediate future, talking with the executives in the organization and with your agent, where do you see yourself kind of fitting in when you look at the big league roster? When you look at their minor league affiliates, where are you kind of seeing yourself right now, and what's kind of the vision there?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty with other guys' contracts and everything, and where guys are going to be. And but obviously, at the end of the day, you can't look at that. You gotta your mentality is you have to go in and take someone's job. So, um, and that's honestly my goal. Is not oh I want to be in this position and play this many minutes, or I want to be this. I'm going to be. My goal and all that is and it's hard. You look at their depth charts and all that, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you. And you can look at there's going to be guys everywhere coming in and at camp and all that. So you don't want to get into the numbers game because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, for me, I mean, obviously, I just plan on going in and working hard and trying to crack the club. I think if I need to, if I'll play as however many little or as many minutes. Obviously, you want to play and you want to be there and you want to be there a lot. But whatever role I kind of get, I can find a way to make the team. Like I'm gonna try to buy into that role and do it. So yeah, honestly, I couldn't tell you, you know, first pair, second pair, not the minors, whatever. But I mean, my goal is obviously just to come in there and you know, be one of the 6 or 7 guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you work your whole life to kind of put yourself in this position, and now it's kind of how much of a piece of the pie can you get, and for how long, right? I think it's one thing to get this opportunity. It's a huge honor, but it's an even bigger compliment if you can stay there a while. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I think based on I probably read more articles than you have about yourself, and I think you got a bright future. I'm excited to see where it goes. So um, we'll leave it at that for the future, and now I think it'd be kind of fun to dive into the past a little bit. Obviously, you've come a long way from when you started playing hockey. So let's just kind of go through your path to the present. Okay, so let's start with little baby Connor, and then move it all the way up from youth to high school, and then USHL, and then Mankato. So start there, and then I'll kind of prompt you as we go along.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. Yeah, so she's I think I started skating I started skating at a pretty young age. I mean, my dad played hockey, so we were on the ice, my brother and I, when after his practices and whatnot, and just kind of lived around the game. So I obviously instantly took a love into hockey. Um, so yeah, I think I'm not exactly sure on the age when I first started skating. Probably I would assume around 3 or 4, and then you get into we played my first year hockey was Might. It's called Might. So um, I played 3 years of Might hockey. I mean, that must have been 6, 7, 8. I don't know how old we were, but super young, obviously, and getting to Pee Wee hockey, 2 years of Pee Wee, then 2 years of Bantam, and I played house league up until uh, through 3 years of Might, and then uh, 2 years of Pee Wee. I just played house league, and then my Bantam year, I started playing travel hockey. Um, Back at Glacier. We used to live in Gurnee area in Illinois. Now I live in Barrington, Illinois. So we moved, but yeah, there was actually a new team that they had. So I was actually like the inaugural season for that travel team, and I played there for 2 years, and then after that, well, we moved to a different location here. So, and then I started playing. So I played Bantam here. I played Bantam here. I think, sorry, I messed that up. The Pee Wee was the inaugural season back then. So I played travel and Pee Wee. Then we moved here. We started playing Bantam, just double A hockey, called the Barrington Red Wings. Those are kind of the program around here. And then right after that, I played high school hockey actually for a little bit. So yeah, I think obviously like Illinois high school it's not a super high level. It's not like Minnesota or anything like that. But um, my brother and I you know, we were probably one of the more serious, I guess I would say, hockey players. So we wanted to obviously I've always wanted to play like high school hockey past high school and try to play pursue my dream to play pro hockey. So we made the jump to AAA for my senior year. So I played for Team Illinois my senior year of high school, and that was a great year. Playing with my brother. I mean, I played with my brother my whole career up until junior hockey. Obviously, we went our separate ways, but um, so yeah, actually, so that year it was an interesting year for me. I had a great start to that year. I had a high ankle sprain, which set me back for 6 weeks. I missed 6 weeks of the year around, I want to say, just after Christmas, which is obviously important, like you're trying to get scouted and get noticed. So missing 6 weeks was a tough time, but I was still I got lucky. I was fortunate. We actually were on a good team. That year we won we played the HPHL. So there's two other Chicago teams in that division, and then the Michigan teams, Honey Baked, Little Caesars, all them. So we actually won the league championship that year, which was awesome. Under 18s, and then we were runner up in the state final. It was anyway overall a great year. But yeah, I was kind of talking to teams throughout the whole year, and I had a couple interest in USHL teams were talking to me, and I had a couple. I was lucky enough to get invited to a few practices, like USHL practices. So I think my first. We had a tournament in Lincoln, Nebraska, or I'm thinking Omaha, Nebraska. We had a AAA tournament, and the Lincoln Stars wanted me to practice. So I actually practiced with them when I was a senior in high school. So kind of got my foot in the door, and I was talking to them. I was talking to a few other teams, and Green Bay was another team that approached me and said, "Hey, we want to get you in and practice." So obviously, being close to home is 3 hours away. I went up there, so I practiced with them as well. This is post that season, so I did that, and obviously was in contact. I didn't really know what was going to happen, and then actually around this time, beginning in May, the USHL draft. So I got picked late. I I think it was the 13th round, I want to say, by Green Bay. So it was their second to last pick in that draft. So pretty fortunate. I don't know if they took a flyer on. They might have just taken a flyer on me, but I mean, I'm happy they did. And obviously, yeah, played there for 2 years. Played with Spoons. Sorry, I know I'm going into pretty detail. I don't know.
No, that's
I
okay.
want the whole rundown, but played there for 2 seasons, and yeah, I played there for 2 seasons, and uh, I had a great experience there. Obviously, that first year I was in and out. I was trying to find my way, but uh, a great group of guys, and I really learned a lot about myself. I think that time, the first time on my own and all that, and then yeah, I was lucky enough to. I committed to Mankato. I visited Mankato in August after my first year in the USHL. So it might have been August of 2016 or 17. Anyway, I committed to Mankato preseason, my second year junior, and then played that year, and then obviously played in Mankato for 3 years. So that's kind of the route I did, and then I got lucky. I signed with the Flames a couple months ago. So yeah, it's a pretty detailed route, but
Yeah.
yeah, really fortunate to have that path. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the amount of people who felt like, the amount of opportunities and help I've gotten is incredible. just just opportunity on playing time or whatever it is, or helping you get somewhere. I mean, it's incredible. So I'm very fortunate.
That's awesome. That's you've got quite the journey. Um, I know it was kind of a struggle for you probably in that time when you were looking for just a team to take a chance on you in the USHL, and Green Bay did that, which is pretty cool, and it's worked out really well for you since. Um, so I want to peel back to just a few different things, and you don't have to go too much in depth on them, but um, your dad, you said your dad played hockey. He spent some time in the NHL, right? And then
Yep.
is that was it just kind of a natural um, follow up for you guys to get into hockey, or how did you kind of fall in love with hockey?
Yeah, great question. My dad played in the NHL we played 14 years professional, so he's kind of up and down between the NHL and the minors. But yeah, like I said, I think he retired in 2000, so I was 4 years old. So I kind of remember a little bit. He'd bring us out. Uh, he finished for the Chicago Wolves, so they're in the AHL now. And I remember him bringing us in the locker room and running around there and kind of skating out on that rink after practice with him. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, hockey was I kind of grew up around it, and honestly, he never really pushed me, my brother and I, one way or the other. I mean, we could have done anything if he wanted to play baseball or wanted to play tennis or whatever it was. I mean, he was pretty he was okay with that. He never really pushed me to do this or that. I
Mm.
mean, I fell in love with the game. I loved everything about it. I loved skating, and I loved going to the rink, and um, playing with my brother, like knee hockey, whatever it was, growing up. So I fell in love with it on my own, really. So it was, yeah, that's how it kind of happened.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I grew up kind of a rink rat myself. It was tough to get me away sometimes, but I also played baseball. Obviously, it worked out a little bit better for you than it did for me, but uh, nonetheless, hockey is just it's such a fun sport. I wish everyone could play it, but yeah. So just one final note on the youth hockey days. I was kind of curious. When was it that you like knew you were going to be like really good? Like, were you always like Bantam A, Pee Wee A, Squirt A, your first and second year of each level, or was it kind of like a steady progression to you becoming, you know, a version of the player you are today?
Yeah, I know your question. I think it was kind of a steady progression. I mean, like I said, I never grew up playing at the highest level, which I think in the long term really benefited me. I think a lot of kids get wrapped up in, oh, I have to play AAA, or I have to play on this team or this travel team and all this team. And honestly, like I think if I would have done that, I don't think I'd be where I am right now. I think because once you get in those situations, then you're kind of with the best of the best of, whatever your age group, and you kind of get pigeonholed and you might not develop as much. I think for me, playing kind of maybe not at the highest level, I did feel like I think that I always was one of the better players on the team. So I got to play in every situation. I got to play on special teams. I got a lot of playing time, and that's how I love the game too. I think a lot of kids too. I mean, a lot of people play on the highest level and they're doing travel when they're, whatever, 13, 14, they can get burnt out pretty easily. Obviously I just played in locally here. And so yeah, I always knew that I always had that drive and like that dream of playing in the NHL and wanting to do that. Like it was always, I think growing up, I mean, some kids, I always wanted to be a hockey player. Other kids just kind of wanted to play hockey. And I think that's when, obviously going to AAA, like, that's when, you start getting that, okay, like you're a hockey player. And yeah, I think growing up, I got lucky. I think it made me kind of who I am today, just the progression, because I think being on those middle of the range teams, I was able to develop. I was able to do my own thing and kind of get confidence in my game. And as I made the jump to AAA and then junior hockey, like obviously it was an adjustment too. But even making the jump to AAA, like I got that confidence, and I was a a big piece of the puzzle for that team. And
Yeah.
kind of obviously and further on. So um, I would say that. I think obviously it benefited me. I mean, I don't think you need to play at the highest level all the time at a young age. And just honestly having fun with the game is like, that's what I did. I had fun with it, and I got to play with my friends. And, I think that's really what made me who I am today. I love the game, so
Yeah.
you have to love it too. You have to love it, or you're really not. If you want to have aspirations of going far, it's not going to happen if you don't love it.
For sure. I think that's really well said. I would say I can relate to that on a smaller level. I was always kind of like my first year I'd be squared A, second year or first year I'd be squared B, second year I'd be squared A, and then it was the same all the way up through Bantam, and then even on JV, I played JV and then I played varsity. But like just playing at that lower tier, like playing on a B team or playing on a lower level team, you get so many touches of
Right.
puck, and you get so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And like I learned how to dominate like at a lower level, and it made me so much more confident. Like when I would be a second year and I'd play on the A team, or when I played varsity, I tell you what, if Coach Donahue's still on here, he could probably tell you how dominant I was on JV. Uh,
Love that.
and it probably even convinced him to try me out on varsity. And then, after that, he realized, all right, he's just okay. But it certainly, I think your point rings true. Just to give yourself that confidence is huge. Get those touches. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Donahue says you bet. Okay, so I want to jump forward a little bit to your USHL career. Uh, you spent 2 years there. And the second year you were there, you happened to win USHL Defenseman of the Year. I just kind of did some digging here, and I guess my question is, in 2016, 2015, 2016 year, you played 29 games and you had 2 points. And then your second year, you played 60 games and you had 47 points. So you had a huge jump from year one to year two. Do you attribute that to anything in particular? Like, did you make an intentional change in your game, or did something just kind of click for you? What was that all about?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple, I guess, things I contribute that to. I mean, that first year was obviously tough. Yeah, I played 29 games. I was in and out of the lineup. I mean, I think a lot of people have. I think that was honestly like that was good for my career. I think it was the first time I really. Uh, it was the first time that playing hockey, I kind of struggled to find my game and work my way in the lineup. Like I said, always kind of being in it, having a bigger role on the team. And that was the first time I didn't. But um, that was an important year. Even it wasn't my best year of hockey, but it was kind of an important year. I think it kind of shaped the player I am today. Like you said, I think obviously my dad has been through all the ups and downs of hockey. So having him, uh, by my side that year and hey, this is how it works and all that, like was huge. Yeah, I think that year we had a really good team that year. I was one of the, I was, I was two of, I think seven. Well, yeah, we had seven defensemen on the team, and two of us were rookies, and I was one of them. So I never, um, I was in and out, and it was really tough. But I always kind of had that mindset, like, hey, like, okay, like these guys are all leaving for college, and next year, like, I'm probably going to be one of the only returning defensemen. And sure enough, like I was, and I mean, honestly, that wasn't a given. I think, you know, no one really would have expected probably the breakout year I had, but I just remember that summer too. I just remember I was like, okay, like this is it. I'm going to be a 20-year-old player, and I need to work because my career is going to be on the line. Like if I don't get a commitment or whatever that is, but so I remember that whole summer I worked my balls off that summer. I mean, um, I actually trained. So I'll just go a quick story. I mean, if you I'll tie it in, but you're gonna like this one, I guess. But the whole summer was I actually met one of my trainers. Um, I don't train with him anymore, but I trained with him for 2 or 3 summers, and um, I met him at a Chicago Blackhawks game. My dad actually played with his father, or knows his father from the kind of alumni of the hockey world, and his son's is a personal trainer. So he trains in a gym about 45 minutes away from my house now. And so my brother and I met him through there, and he's like, "Hey, come train at the gym and all this." So we started doing that the summer the right after my senior year of high school. So probably like the end of the summer. So we got like our foot in the door for about a month, and I remember just that next year I had 29 games. I didn't play a lot, and I just said I know there's going to be opportunity. I just said I gotta train, so I'm gonna kind of get to work. It's really no secret. I worked really hard. That my brother and I said, hey, we're gonna commit to this, and we used to get up. I want to say the workouts started at 6 o'clock in the morning. So my brother and I would get up. We'd had to be there a little early, so we used to get up at 4:45, around 4:45, 5 o'clock that whole summer. At least 3 or 4 days that summer, and we drove. We made the trek like 45 minutes to train with this guy, Kyle Mulvey. Quick shout out, um, give him props. So he was amazing and amazing trainer. So I just remember that summer I was in like really good shape. Probably, I mean, I've one of the best shapes I've been in my life probably, and I just remember I felt like strong and confident. I think that gave me a lot of confidence. And I mean, coming in the next year, I showed up at camp, and I had a really good camp. I think we had a summer camp. I think it was like around in June, and that's when kind of a few schools were there. And hey, like we're gonna talk to you, and so that gave me confidence. And yeah, obviously Mankato was like, hey, we want to visit, and that whole thing. But then yeah, the next year just coming back. I mean, that was that was an incredible year for me. I mean, just getting that, I think it was big. Getting that opportunity was big, but I think coming into training camp and showing the coach, hey, I put the work in. Hey, I'm dedicated. I knew I was gonna get this opportunity, but hey, I'm gonna actually do something with it. I'm not gonna let you down, and I wanna help this team win. And that was kind of my mindset. So I obviously had the breakout year, and um, you know, this whole thing, I think we had a lot of good players on that team. Getting scouted, and so obviously we had eyes. I think eyes having eyes on other players benefited me because in the long run. But yeah, I mean I'd say the biggest two contributors would be like that. I mean, just the trainer helped me a lot. And yeah, I think that year of going through that ups and downs and not playing or playing a couple shifts a game, I mean, it was tough, but it was a really big motivator for me, and it'll push me to where I want to be. And the player, like, it pushed me to that have that success. So yeah, I'd say those things were the biggest things.
That's freaking awesome, and I think that's really special. Just kind of the theme that I've noticed that you'll probably agree with is that it takes an army. I know you've mentioned your dad was a big influence. You had your brother, you had that trainer, and then you had a great group of teammates that put you in a good position to get seen and to get scouted, which makes it
Yeah.
all the more of a humbling experience and makes you that much more hungry because you want to do well for those people. So that's really cool,
Absolutely.
dude. So after that, you head to MSU, and kind of the same thing happened there, where you had a little bit of a steady progression. I know you had roughly the same amount of points between your sophomore and junior year, but the plus minus was up. I don't know what you attribute all that stuff to, but just in a quick 1 to 2 minute blurb, tell me about your time at MSU, and kind of what that has meant to you as your development as a player and a person.
Yeah, wow. My time at Mankato, those are, by far the best 3 years out of my life, no doubt. So, um, yeah, I mean, going in there too, another thing, I think just having that opportunity, I was lucky. I got that opportunity to play. I played every game as a freshman. Um, and I think, obviously I worked hard for it, but I think, the coaches, credit to them. I think they had that they saw something in me and had that confidence in me. Even when I make mistakes as a freshman, they kept putting me back out there in roles, different situations. So um, same sort of thing happened. I know we lost maybe two or three other defensemen after my freshman year, and I kind of got put into an even bigger role my sophomore year. And we kind of had the same group of guys. We basically had the same team my sophomore and junior year. So I kind of stayed in that same similar role. And yeah, I mean, great experience there. I met so many great people, and yeah, just the opportunity I got there was a huge one. I think the coaches, obviously working with them and just them having that trust factor in me, it really goes a long way. And it starts obviously in practice, the simple habits and all that, and you gotta earn that. But yeah, Mankato was amazing. Best 3 years of my life, like I said, and I met so many great people and so many good experiences there. Not even in hockey, just outside of hockey, and a lot of things you learn. And yeah, it was just amazing time.
Man, you talk about having a good group of guys there too. I had a privilege to know a handful of the guys on the team while I was in town. And you guys, year after year, it seems like you're breaking records for win percentages. You're breaking records for points, and you're taking home conference championships, and you're getting nationally seeded for the NCAA tournament, and looking poised to make a run and get that first national championship for Mankato. So kudos to you guys. I'm wondering kind of what the overall feeling is. You had a pretty sour ending to this year, and you guys were riding pretty high when that happened. What's just kind of your feeling about that?
Yeah, that was a tough one. It sucks big time. I think. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I don't. It's even hard to put into words now. I think just you play the whole year and uh, winning those. We won the regular season, which was awesome. We got that trophy in the bag, and I think this was really we had a lot of guys graduating and guys come back, and you really play the whole year. It felt like just for that taste of that national tournament and to play on that big stage and make a run for the national title. And yeah, it's super bitter ending. I mean, it happened. It happened to every team, but I think it just stings a little more when we were the number 2 team in the nation at that time, and um, obviously yeah, you never know what's going to happen in the tournament, but our chances were probably higher than most teams going in, right, to make a run. So it sucks. I mean, it happened to a lot of teams out there, so nothing you can do. I mean, it happens, but yeah, super bitter taste, and it's unfortunate, but you got to take the positives out of it. You don't want to look and be like, oh, that was a scrap, just scrap the year. I mean, I had a lot of development in my game that year, and just the friendships and the journey we were on, and the highs and lows, and the road trips, and you can take a lot of positives out of it. I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, to be honest.
For sure. Uh, I guess one final question there. Uh, did the canceled season give you any desire to come back and play your senior year? Was there any sort of internal struggle there, or was it time to leave? Was it just the right opportunity?
Yeah, it was I think my yeah, it was yeah, I think yeah, it sucked. I mean, not even getting a chance to play in the tournament and all that, but it was we kind of had that plan in place for me for three seasons there, and um it was the right time to go. I think I just I kind of had that internal feeling, and this is time for me to step away,
Sure.
I did. So it was time for me to go. I knew that I did, it got cut. It got cut. I left them maybe a month or two short, but yeah, I think that was a plan the whole time. I knew I was going to leave after my junior year. So and then I'm obviously excited for my next chapter.
Yeah, I guess you did. In your 3 years, you're walking around away with a bachelor's degree, aren't you?
That's correct. Yeah, that
That's
is
pretty huge.
correct. So
Congratulations on
yeah,
that as well.
thank you. Thanks a lot.
What's your degree in?
Business management.
Very nice. Perhaps a little post-career venture for you there after the hockey's done. All right, so now I think it's time to kind of turn to, I would say, the fun part. We've learned kind of a lot about your journey, but now it's time to kind of dive deep, turn up the heat, and learn about you as a person, as Connor Mackey. So first, I want to just have you tell us about yourself as a player. Like, what is it that makes you good? And just kind of describe yourself as a player.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I pride myself as a player is just playing all three zones and both ends of the ice. I think a lot of players these days, or a lot of kids or whatever, like you want to play offense or defense, but I think it's important to play both sides of the puck. So I would describe myself as just a two-way defenseman, just a puck moving defenseman. I think I'm for a big guy. I think I skate well, and I think my hockey IQ is probably I'd say that's probably the biggest thing I think for me is just I feel like I'm a smart player and smart with the puck. Um, I like to think I have like a calming influence on the back there when things can get a little heated and crazy. But yeah, just a two-way puck moving defenseman that just can join the rush and can play offense, but can also shut other teams' top lines down.
That's not a bad little combination to have. Um, the other thing I wanted to ask you about within that was Coach Hastings. I think when you signed, he was asked to kind of share some thoughts on you, and he mentioned you have kind of a natural nastiness to your game. Where does that come from, and why do you think how do you think that helps you out?
Yeah. Well, I think it probably comes from my dad. Kind of had that nastiness when he played, so he always told me growing up, you got to play with an edge. You got to finish your hits and just it's okay to give a guy a shot in front of the net. Let him know like, hey, this is my area. You got to protect yourself and all that. Um, yeah, I think in college it was tough. I that was an adjustment also I had. I think I used, I think in junior hockey, you were able to get away with a little bit more. I think when you go to college, I think the refereeing is a bit tighter. Guys are wearing cages, so you can't just whack a guy in front of the net. But yeah, I would say I got that probably the little nastiness with my dad, and um, yeah, I think it's important to play with an edge. You always want to be, you got to be aware on the ice of who's out there, and maybe if it is their top guy, give him an extra, let them know, hey, like this is going to be a long night, that kind of thing.
So how do you think that translates to the next level? I mean, are you going to be able to kind of use that nastiness sort of like you did in the USHL, or is the USHL just the wild, wild west where,
No, yeah, the USHL is definitely not the wild wild west at all. But I think in the USHL, I was an older guy, so I was able to, I think, get my presence felt a bit more known to guys in their team if they're a bit younger or whatnot. But yeah, obviously, I'm gonna try to bring that edge to pro as much as I can. I think you got to be careful though, picking your spots and who you're messing with. But it's part of my game, and yeah, it's what got me here. I think you got to play with a bit of an edge and that nastiness to you. That be tenacious and all that. So, I guess I'll let you know when I get there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Well, I think now is probably a good time to sort of get into what you're currently working on, what your current training regimen looks like, and just dive into the habits and the routines and all that stuff that kind of keeps you sharp. So, what does your current training regimen look like? If we weren't in a quarantine, what would that look like? And what are kind of the habits and the routines on a daily basis, or a weekly basis, or a monthly basis that you feel like you need to do to keep you sharp?
Yeah. Yeah. So if we weren't in quarantine, um, I would I'd probably be home now, or else training. The last couple summers, I was training in Mankato with our hockey trainer there with the team. So
Hmm.
yeah, if I was back at home here, I mean, which I am, and gyms were open, everything was natural. I'd be getting up. I'd be getting up in the morning. I'd be heading over to the gym with my brother. I'd obviously have a workout plan in place from the Flames or whoever, maybe my trainer from school, and just to have what I need to work on. And every day is obviously different, what you go through. So I'd have that sheet, and start knocking that stuff down, go through my warm up before I get into the gym. Um, Obviously hit the weights, and then usually also there's like I usually try to do some sprints, some shuffles, whatever that is, some quick explosive stuff in the field or in the street.
Cool.
So yeah, I would say those two, and I'll do those, and then obviously come home and get it's important to get a meal. Obviously for me, I'm trying to put muscle on and still trying to develop my body. So yeah, obviously get a good meal and some protein, and hit the golf course after.
Keep it light. The recovery is just as important, right?
It is, yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
It is. I'm always trying to stay hydrated too. Like I try to carry the gallon of water, and just because it's may not look the whatever, not look the best, but you know what? It's effective. You drink one of those a day, and you're gonna be hydrated, so you're gonna feel good.
You and Spooner, man, those things are attached to you, I swear.
Yeah, only the summertime, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. I guess a follow-up question to that is kind of, what are you doing? Uh-oh. Are we still good? I just got a notification. We still
I'm
good?
good. Yeah, you here?
Okay, yeah, we're good. I thought we got bounced out for a sec there. Um, with that, are you kind of doing, just for like a Coach Donahue who's watching, or any younger hockey players who are watching, are you focusing on a lot of heavyweight Olympic style lifting? Are you doing a lot of body weight stuff? What do you kind of see as being important as a hockey player?
Yeah, I think obviously it's evolved. I think it's important now to work on the quick feed, and a lot of guys use bands and skater jumps and short sprints. I think that translates really good to hockey. The 10-yard sprints instead of the mile run. Like I don't think that's what is really a mile run going to do for a hockey player. I mean, yeah, it's going to help your cardio, but I think it translates the short bursts translate probably the biggest to hockey. Like, oh, I gotta win this. From the top of the circle to the blue line. If I'm a winger, I'm gonna win that puck battle. It's a quick 10-yard sprint and be explosive that way. Um, Obviously I'm focusing on everything. Right now it's a weird time for me. I'm always kind of staying ready. I don't know if things pick up, I might have to leave. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything, but um, yeah, like I said, I think the footwork and the just the dry land stuff, I feel like has been a big thing for me that's helped. Not so much in like the weight room and the weights itself, but just the hurdle jumps and the box jumps and that type of stuff is beneficial, I think, for hockey. Um, but right now, I mean, I'm training kind of everything, and I'm trying to I think the weight's important too, right? So like for me, I'm trying to gain muscle and all that. So I'm doing a lot of squats and I'm trying to do that stuff. A little bit of an old school regiment maybe, but while keeping, that speed. You don't want to just lift and kind of be a meathead. Hockey players need to be agile. They need to be quick. They need to be big, and they need to kind of do it all, be able to do it all, right? So
Sure. Cool. All right. Well, that's kind of your day to day. Now take me through on a game day. Pre-game routine. Do you have any superstitions? What gets you prepared to play the best?
yeah. Do you want me to walk through the full game day routine, or just kind of some superstitions and all that?
Let's start kind of. I mean, you can stay away from the pregame skate and the nap and whatever. I
Okay.
think that's
Okay.
pretty universal. But just specific to you, what do you think helps you get ready to play the best?
Um. Well, yeah. Well, I guess I one thing I always do is take a pregame nap. So I don't. A lot of guys don't, or some, maybe half the guys do, but that's always been in my routines ever since junior hockey. I'm always catching that pregame nap, whether it's 2 hours or might be just 30, 45 minutes. I'm always trying to catch a nap. So, um, yeah, I think, showing up to the rink, first thing, obviously change out of my suit and get into my warm-up clothes. I'll make sure my sticks are prepared. Always got to have my sticks ready. I think that's that's important. Have them dialed in, and um, I'm one of those guys who is focused before the game, but while staying kind of loose and having fun. I'm not overly too serious, but I'm not just loosey goosey and not too focused. I'm kind of that happy medium. I'd probably say more focused and calm than energy. Um, but yeah, I think just I think things I do before the game to help me get ready is I'm always kind of go through, hey, okay, what is my job tonight? Shut these guys down. Little things, just
Mhm.
pucks out, good passes. I kind of say that to myself. I do a lot of, I try to visualize a lot. Um,
Nice.
maybe after my nap, I think I try to do that. And okay, just even if it's the simplest thing comes to me on the blue line, shot on net, that's just habit. I try to visualize a lot and just me skating with the puck. And, if you do that, 100 times in your head, it's gonna, you're doing something right that hopefully it translates to the game. So, um, I'm always visualizing. I'm always kind of thinking about the game, and always kind of keep reminding myself, like, hey, I'm the best. I can do this. Like, positive reinforcement. I try to say positive reinforcement to myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any cup of coffee, any Snickers bar, anything like that? You live and die by.
No, I don't. No, not at all. I'm not a coffee guy at all. I know a lot of my teammates are, but I don't drink coffee at all. I don't. A lot of guys maybe the candied Snickers bar. I might have a Snickers bar on a Thursday night on the road. Um, not on a game day though. I just stick it to the chicken and pasta for a meal, and um, yeah, no coffee, none of that. Water. Try to pound the water for hydration.
Yeah. When's the last food you put in your body for a 7 o'clock game?
The last meal I have is around 2 o'clock.
Hmm.
I have the big feast of chicken and pasta, um, and then I go home for the nap, and then it depends how I'm feeling. I mean, sometimes um, I won't. Sometimes I won't eat. Usually I do. I'll go up and have a banana and a granola bar, maybe a yogurt,
Cool.
um, maybe some toast or something like that. But I usually keep it light. The last meal I have is around 2 o'clock, 2:30, and then yeah, I'm just grabbing something light before the game just to tide me over, and then I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Okay. So my next question is kind of related to your hockey influences. Do you have a current player that you can kind of compare yourself to, or um, do you have players from your past, maybe growing up, that you kind of model your game after?
Yeah. Um, I mean, obviously today is I try to watch all the best like defensemen in the NHL today. tough to get a comparison, but I think growing up, I wouldn't compare myself to this player. I think we're different players. But growing up, I watched Duncan Keith all the time, defenseman for the Blackhawks actually. So he wears number 2 actually. So that's kind of why I picked number 2 when I went to Mankato, and it's just a good defenseman number. He used to wear it. So and obviously the Blackhawks, they won 3 Stanley Cups like when I was in high school and growing up. So I always watched the Hawks all the time, and he was he won two Norris trophies, and he was a stud. So I always tried to watch him and what he did, and um, you know, kind of growing up. And then today, I try to watch all the defensemen really, just Seth Jones, Zach Werenski and all those guys. I mean, Drew Doughty, Carlson, all those guys are the best in the world. So um, yeah, I mean, I don't compare myself to any of those guys, but I just try to take things from their game and what do those guys do, and what am I kind of learning here, and try to take something small, even if it's just something small.
Sure. What can you kind of share something that you might take from a player? One of those small things like a certain play they might make, or a certain uh, just a certain like mechanical or technical or you know tactical gameplay type thing you might take from someone.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot. I actually watch a lot of positioning where they're at. In the if they're in the offensive zone and if they don't have the puck, I think that's important. Okay, where's this guy? Where's this guy? I think a lot of people get wrapped up in, oh, he has the puck. We're gonna be, I think the playing away from the puck is important. So I try to watch where guys are at in the defensive zone and the offensive zone, neutral zone when they don't have the puck. Um, and obviously, I take things from when guys do have the puck. Maybe if it's on the power play or the penalty kill, stick positions,
Sure.
just how they close someone off, their skating stride, just how they move just their footwork and how they transition,
Yeah.
how they handle the puck, and you can go really a lot of things. Yeah, I'd say those things. Just kind of watching where they're at and what they do.
I mean, that's really cool too, because that's kind of the beauty of hockey, and that's what shows that you love the game is kind of the little things that maybe other people aren't really paying attention to, but that's what makes you just that much better and ends up making a difference. Okay, so now this is gonna be my favorite question I think of the day. Um, Connor McGregor, you kind of say that he's your inspiration for your mentality and kind of what you try to embody as a player and as a person. What does Connor McGregor kind of mean to you, and how do you like what do you take from him that makes you kind of the savage that you are?
Yeah, I kind of got into him a few years ago. Obviously, his story is amazing, right? Just a small kid and made it to the biggest stage in the world. I think his mentality is incredible. Like I just really get a kick out of his mindset, and his self belief is so incredible. Like he believes he can do this and do that, and he goes out and does it. So he talks the talk, but he also walks the walk. So I wouldn't, I like his kind of mindset and the way he thinks. I don't think I don't want to get into his his antics and the way he talks and all that, but just how confident he is, and his self belief is like something that I like took away, and
Yeah.
just him being the biggest underdog, and no one coming from a town like that, and he's never going to do it, and he's lifting the world title over his head. That's just amazing. I think I'm just obsessed with his story, and um, he's just a killer too. I mean, I don't know, he's a savage, right? Like you said, he's just an absolute savage. So his self belief is big. I think that's you got to believe in yourself, and I think it inspired me because look at a guy like him, came from nothing, and he has like he was nothing to something to just everything,
Yeah.
and it's incredible. So like if you put the hard work in too, like I mean he earned it, right? He worked his absolute bag off. So but yeah, his mentality is just crazy, and the mindset he has in his corner, the people he has in his corner, like he's he's dialed from every angle, man. He's obsessed with the sport, right? Like he loves what he does, and he gets help, and he's got his corner guys, and it's just like it's cool. It is cool, that is to watch him and see what he does. It's actually insane.
That's awesome. I love it. Are
Yeah.
there any other sources of mindset or mentality for you that you kind of draw on? What kind of I guess what are your influences as far as your mindset or mentality other than Conor McGregor,
Yeah, I mean,
if any?
yeah. I get like a lot of my energy. I just like I love like being um kind of unknown, really,
Hmm.
like where like this guy, and just kind of you show up and you do the work, like you don't want to, like, sometimes it's best to not be like the super highly touted and all this. Like I think some of my favorite movies are like Rocky and Rudy. Like it's one of some of my two favorite movies, and like just how like they just did whatever it took and kind of climbed the ladder. And yeah, just always having that mindset. I think like I'm gonna do whatever it takes, and I think that's kind of where it's got me. And I'm gonna work hard. And if you do the right things, you stay positive, you work hard, you stay on the right track, and do the right things. Like, and you got to get help along the way. But getting that opportunity, is obviously big too. But having that mindset, okay, just keep staying positive and keep working on your game and all that. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. It's hard to tag a specific person, but um, just having that mindset of like, okay, if you just believe in yourself, like you can do it.
Yeah, dude. Hey, I love it. That's beautiful. Honestly, you fire me up like when we're texting back and forth and stuff. And it's really cool to see just kind of how you attack things, and you love being in isolation and being that underdog. I think it's pretty cool. You're kind of a villain in a world that nobody really hates you, but they don't quite respect you yet, and you're gonna make sure that they respect you at some point, which is pretty cool. Um, okay, so that's kind of the hockey side of things. Um, what is it kind of your purpose, if you will? What is your purpose, or what's kind of the big thing that keeps you moving forward? If things ever get tough, or if you need some extra inspiration to draw on, what is it that keeps you kind of going forward?
Um, I think I mean, obviously being with my family is important. I think talking to my dad has been through a lot of ups and downs. So um, kind of
Sure.
always kind of remembering, hey, like just kind of going back to the basics and being around my friends and people who care about me. And it's not always about hockey, right? It's about life's it's a whole nother world. So like it's being around like friends and people who care about me is important. I'm involved in a Bible study. Shout out to Mort. I don't know if he's in it up a little bit, but
More.
he's been a kind of a big influence on my life, really. And and Mankato, I've had a great friendships and other friendships built around him and my teammates too. So um, there's another guy, they're just like having those friendships and people who you can turn to in tough times is important to have.
Sure. That's great. Um, is there kind of any significant events or experiences in your life that you've had to overcome, and kind of draw on that purpose, or when there have been difficult times for you, what's kind of how did you overcome those times, if you've had any? Maybe it's been pretty smooth sailing for you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hasn't been smooth sailing. I mean, it's tough to find us. I think someone in someone's career that it hasn't been all smooth sailing. I think that one kind of shapes guys who they are. But I touched on it earlier. I think um, that first year of junior in Green Bay I had was really hard on me, and being in on the lineup and um, playing, but you're really not playing, and um, it was tough. It was really tough, but uh, I think I can, just drawing a lot from that, like looking back and being like, okay, like how did I overcome that? And you just gotta stay the course and um, kind of knew like, okay, like I'm gonna get an opportunity, you know, and whenever that is, I'm just gonna make the most of it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, are there any kind of current barriers that you're facing right now, from a hockey standpoint or a personal standpoint, um, or maybe another way to put that, or is there any holes you're trying to fill, in your game or as a person, that you're kind of going through right now as you enter professional hockey, and how are you kind of attacking that?
Yeah, right now it's hard, you know. I haven't skated in a while. Obviously, there's no ice and all that, and not even being able to get to a gym. But um, I think I'm the biggest thing. I guess when I'm able to get back on the ice and is just kind of fine tune everything, you know, and what I've learned throughout the years and like you know the things I've learned through you know my coaches at Mankato and all that, and I actually you know sometimes I when I was back at school like I actually made a like a Word doc and I started, you know, writing things down and typing stuff up. Okay, what, you know, what makes me Connor Mackey and who the player I am and how did I get here and just the little things, you know what I mean? Just like,
Mhm.
you know, good first pass and or just whatever it is, good gaps, you know, like those little things. And I can always kind of go back and remind myself, okay, this is what I need to do. Um, Obviously I'm always working on my skills and my skating, you know, just shooting and passing, just literally just the basics of hockey. You know, you can never stop working on that stuff. Um, you know, the barrier I'm climbing now is like is you know fine you know is really working on my game. I can't really work on my game, you know, a ton on the ice, you know. So
Mhm.
I'm shooting pucks right now and in like a soccer field here, you know, 100 pucks and just shoot them and you know obviously get your off ice workouts in, but yeah, I don't know that. I think not too many barriers. I mean, I'm always trying to develop and I'm always trying to learn and about my game. You know, I think everyone has stuff to improve on, even the best in the world.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah,
Beautiful. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, for sure, things are never going to be easy, but it sounds like you kind of have the right mindset about it, which is what makes you special. It's part of what makes you Connor Mackey, which is really cool, and that's kind of why we're here. So, um, biggest goal for 2020, and what are you going to do to make it happen?
biggest goal for 2020 would be to play in the National Hockey League. Um, get that game under my belt. So that's the biggest goal. I mean, hopefully I can come to camp and make the team, but you know what? That's okay if I don't. I'm gonna work hard to get there one day. So that's the biggest goal of mine, and um, I'm gonna be a savage. I'm gonna work so hard. I'm gonna do whatever, man, to get there. I don't like. I know like a lot of people like I signed the contract and everything, and like, you know, congrats. But you know what? It's like, hey, thanks, and it means a lot. But like, it's not my dream to sign a contract. It's not. You know, it's a step in the right direction. Is what it is. So I know the work's just beginning.
That's awesome. I have a feeling that's going to make a pretty good little clip or quote that we can throw on Instagram. I think that's going to fire some people up.
Love it.
Okay. No, dude, that's so cool. Because we're kind of nearing the end here of our time together. So I want to do just a couple light ones to finish it off. And then I've got kind of my one signature question that I'm gonna leave every guest with. And you'll kind of be put on the hot seat and it'll be kind of fun. But
All right.
couple fun ones here. Who's the player you're most looking forward to learning from, whether that be in the Flames organization or otherwise? And then who is the player that you really want to play against?
I guess the biggest player I'm excited to learn from would be Mark Giordano. He's a captain of Flames, and he won a Norris Trophy. I want to say 2 years ago. So he's you know I've never met him. You know I've heard great things about him, and he's a world class defenseman. So I'm excited to kind of be around him. I think that'd be awesome if I can get that experience, hopefully. And then you know, I guess the biggest play, the most. What was the question? The who do I want to play
The one
against?
player you're most looking forward to playing against.
Yeah. I mean, probably the McDavid's probably the best in the world, so I'd say him if I can get that chance one day. I mean, that'd be unbelievable. But
Careful what you
um,
wish for there.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, dude. Just to be in that company will be cool. Mark Giordano, I believe he won the Norris Trophy 2 years ago, like you said. I think he's the oldest guy to ever win a Norris without winning a Norris, right? I think that was his first one, and he's like 35.
Yep. That is correct, I believe. Yeah.
That's pretty insane. I mean, you're playing at a high level, and you're just continually getting better, even at that age. That's cool. I'm excited for you just to have that influence. That'll be sweet. Okay, and then one more fun one here. What is your favorite cliche hockey interview answer? What's your go-to?
My go-to answer.
If you or a favorite that others have.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I haven't had a ton of interviews. I always kind of said, um, I kind of always like, pucks in deep and kind of hit the reset button and get ready for the second. So we could be better, that kind of thing. So.
That's awesome. Pucks in deep. We got to get pucks on net. All that good stuff. Nice. All right. Now here's the big one. And there's a lot of background to this question. Just kind of with my journey. Those who are on the call today and they don't know a lot about my story. I've had 3 open heart surgeries. Was born with kind of a congenital heart defect. And it's been kind of a crazy journey for me. It's impacted, pretty much every fiber of my life. And I recently was reading a book on the specific condition that I have called tetralogy of Fallot. My cousin got me this book for Christmas, and it's kind of been going through the history and sort of the percentages of people that die and people that don't die and blah, 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 blah. And then on top of that, my girlfriend and I don't watch a lot of TV, but we watch this show called A Million Little Things. And there's a character on there who she has cancer and she's going in for an emergency surgery. And there's this scene where she kind of she's about to go into the operating room. The doctors are pushing her away. And she kind of looks back like at her boyfriend through the doors, and you can just kind of see this look of terror on her face, like I might not come back, like she's freaking out a little bit. And for 2 of my 3 surgeries, the last 2, I've been old enough to kind of understand what's going on. I was 13 for the second one, and then I had my third one this past December. And I can relate to that because there's a time where you're rolling into the OR and you're like, holy bleep, I might not come back from this, and you try to have all the trust for the doctors in the world, and you just trust that things will be okay. But there's the real possibility that it might not be. And all that is just to say that life is fragile and life can be short. And so I'm trying to figure out what is the recipe for a fulfilling life. And I'm actually writing a book on the subject right now, which is pretty exciting. I'm excited to finish that up and get it out to the world. Hopefully it has some good insights in it. So my question for you, Connor, is what do you think the recipe is for a fulfilling life?
That's pretty deep, my man. Oh, honestly, I think having a relationship with God is important, and having one with your family, and the people who care about you. And if you have those 2 things, I think you're gonna be okay. So that's a tough one, but put me on the spot here. I'd say those are the biggest things that come to mind.
It's a very complex question, but I think it's one we need to entertain or wrestle with, at some point. I think a lot of people, might forget to entertain that question, and you can live a pretty unfulfilling life when you look back. So it's something that I hope to leave each of my guests with, that they entertain that question and at least figure out what would make for a fulfilling life for them and for you personally, Connor. So I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm looking forward to kind of building a bank of answers from everyone that comes on here. So with that, that's kind of the end of everything we've gone through. I know we ran a little bit long, but it was a very good conversation. And I really appreciate you coming on. I'll probably on my end, I'll probably try to eliminate some of the questions and hopefully keep it shorter for some of the viewers next time. But this was a lot of fun. So thanks so much for coming on, Connor. I'm excited to jump on the phone with you sometime soon, and I'm even more excited to just watch your journey. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, and you've got a huge advocate in me, and I have a high level of gratitude for you coming on and being my first guest. You're the man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. And yeah, I know I had a lot of fun doing this actually. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you soon, man. So good luck with everything, and I'll be watching who else is on here. So yeah, it'll be awesome. Thanks a
Beautiful.
lot, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll our plan here, my little plug is we'll post this on the MindStrong Project website and YouTube channel, so everyone can watch it who didn't get a chance to today. And the plan is to kind of have one or two of these a week, and so I'm pretty excited to have another friend of mine on for episode 2 on Thursday. His name is Carson Kuhlman, plays for the Boston Bruins. Played at Minnesota Duluth, won a national championship. He has scored a goal in Game 6 of the Cup final, and yet another absolute professional in pretty much every sense of the word. So he'll be on Thursday at 3 p.m., I believe, for episode 2 of The Ringer. Connor, congratulations. You made it through, and I'm excited for what happens next.
Absolutely, man.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Thanks for coming on.